Okay, now this is the old secondary air injection check valve that we just took out, and you saw it looking down on it like that. This part was up against the engine. But I wanted to point out to you, there's two different size bolts in there, okay? So on this side, it's going to be a number 5. And on the other side, it's going to be a number 6 Allen wrench, okay? So you'll be a little frustrated in there trying to get a 6 in, anyway. So remember, you'll need 2 separate Allen wrenches to take these bolts out here, okay? All right. First thing you want to do is squeeze and pinch and pull this hose off so you can get it out of the way.
Next, set a mirror behind the check valve to get a better view of things.
Next, unscrew the coupling from that metal pipe in the back. Then remove those 2 bolts from the base with your Allen wrenches. As a side note here, take a look at this ground wire. Notice how dirty it is. If you see a ground wire that looks like this, clean it up, because if you don't, it can create gremlins in your electrical system. Okay, this pipe back here is pretty rigid and it won't push back, so you just gotta twist this off slowly. Right here, I wanted to point out, if you can't move that pipe by brute force, just stick a screwdriver in down in between the pipe like I'm doing, and then push it that way. Okay, push it that way, and that'll help maneuver that out enough so you can get that piece in behind the pipe. I'm taking the new part out of its box here to make sure that it matches up with the old part, and it sure does. It looks good. Now all we have to do is take the base off of here and put it onto here. We got the, there we go. Now with the number 5 Allen wrench, we're going to take the base off of the old one. And when we get it off of the old check valve, we'll then screw it onto the new one. Some of the old gasket is still left on there. So to get the rest of it off, I'm just going to spray regular household degreaser all over it and let it soak in some hot water for a little while. I'm going to let that soak while I grab a bite to eat. Thoroughly clean the base, just in case you have any large deposits down inside. After it's all cleaned up, well, just grab your bolts and get ready to attach the new check valve. Don't forget to put on the gasket. Okay, now it's time to go and install it in the car. Remember, you got the little bolt on this side and the bigger one on this side. All right, let's go put it in the car.
Now once you get it into position, then put those 2 bolts in with the number 5 and the number 6 Allen wrenches. Now for good measure, I'd take a crescent wrench and, well, torque those babies tight just to make sure that base doesn't come loose. After those bolts are tightened down, next thing is to tighten up that pipe in the back. Well, you remember that dirty ground wire that I showed you earlier, the one that was covered in oil and dirt and was loose? Well, I cleaned it up and I'm reattaching that. It's a good habit to get into. That way your alarm won't go off in your future mother-in-law's driveway at midnight. All right, now for the last thing here, you just put on that air hose. You're gonna push it back together and wait till you hear it click. Okay, you don't wanna leave it loose. All right, whenever you're finished with a job, just do a double take on everything. Go back and retighten all the bolts. Make sure you got everything tightened up, okay? I wanted to remind you one last thing to check before you're done. Make sure your hose here is clamped down. Put your left hand underneath it because you're going to put a lot of pressure pushing down here. And make sure you hear that clip. When you hear it click like that, then it's locked. You're good to go. All right. If this video was helpful to you, please hit that like button. Thanks very much. Be blessed. Talk and travel, dog.